What's up, y'all? It's me, Ian, and welcome to the Soccer Comic Rant. Uh, some of you might know, and for the people who don't know, I'm in Australia right now doing shows with Tosh. So, just like a Premiership team that has to play with injuries, like for example, Man U had to play Liverpool this weekend without McTominay, without Rashford, and without Pogba. Uh, just like a team with injuries, you still got to play. You still got to make the game happen. You still got to try to win. I'm gonna try to do this episode. You know what I'm saying? Without being at All Things Comedy, without doing it at the Comedy Stores podcast studio, and without guests like Martin talking shit or just anybody else that I normally have on as guests. Thank you, everybody, include Martin. And but hey, I'm here today to do this wearing this. I gotta wear this dumb earpiece so that it records, so that you could hear it. So this is why I'm wearing the cheap uh, headset. But hey, man, we got a lot to talk about. Been a good weekend. Well, eh, not that good of a weekend, but listen, I'm a realist, so it wasn't that bad of a weekend for me, being a Man U fan. But thanks for listening. If you're listening on SoundCloud, iTunes, Stitcher, Libsyn, and wherever you could listen to this thing, thank you for listening. And if you're watching on, if you're watching on YouTube, like, subscribe, press all those buttons below, do that thing. And so let's get on with this ep. So let me get to the screen with the teams and the games and the results and all that stuff. And I'm just going to go down the top of the table because that's the story of the weekend, the top of the table. So Liverpool is first. They have 64 points. And I think somebody said this is the most points they've ever had in the Premier League. I'm not sure. But they are 18 or 16 games away from the end of the season. And they have more points than they've ever had in the Premier League. So that's pretty impressive if that is true. If it's true, then, hey man, I just brought you facts. If it's not true, then we'll just go hang the person who lied to me, that bastard. So, Liverpool this weekend, unfortunately for me, they played Man United, and I knew this was going to be tough. It's going to be at Anfield. Liverpool is on a roll, and the only time they dropped points this season was against Man United. So I know Liverpool was going to come and try to get that revenge on us. That we're the only team they have not beat this season, and we're bitter rivals, and everybody knows it, and they were gonna definitely bring it. Plus, I'm not saying Liverpool has injuries, but we got way more. Like our best player, Pogba, has basically hasn't played for us all year and may never play for us again. But to be honest, I'm used to not having Pogba in the team. Like I don't even consider him a part of our team anymore because you have to be a realist. He said he wanted to get out. He's got an injury. And before I was like, yeah, he's got an injury. But now I just think he's using this injury to never play for us again, to be honest. And it's hard for me to say that about Pogba because I'm a die-hard Pogba person. So I feel like we definitely need to get rid of the homeboy and use the money from the sale of him to get some players that'll add to us, and I see a light at the end of the tunnel because normally you don't want to lose your best player, but I've seen what Liverpool has done after they sold Coutinho, who was clearly their best player, and Coutinho had the same type of career with Liverpool that Pogba was having, except I think Liverpool fans liked him more, but they brought a similar thing to Liverpool. I think even Paul Pogba brought even more. So I feel like we can just use this Pogba money, man, and spend it on the right way, and we're good. So Man U goes up to Anfield. We have a plan, and we press, and we do a good job. We win the ball up high, but we don't do anything with it. And I want to just give a shout out to uh, what's his name? I just watched it, Game of the Week, and fuck, Game of the Week analyst. Let's do Jermaine. What is Jermaine's last name? Let me type it in. Jermaine Jenis, man, great analyst, man. Like sees through the game. Like what he says in the studio after a game. Like he should be a coach. Like if you're a team looking for a coach, I don't know if he wants to coach, but Jermaine Anthony Jenis is a damn good break down the game after the game analyst, man. So, hey, I don't know what he wants to do. Maybe he's doing what he wants to do. Coaching is a lot more pressure, and but yeah, he's killing it in the studio. Like 99 to 100% of the time, what he says about the game after the game is dead on and it's insightful. It's shit I didn't see during the game, and I'm like, wow, this dude's amazing. Blows me away every time. So yeah, but Man U, man, against Liverpool, I just listen. I knew we were gonna lose. I just didn't want to be embarrassed, and this is where Man U is at, where we're at the level where we're not Man United anymore, the great team that can win games like this. We're Man United who don't want to be embarrassed. Just don't embarrass us. You know what I'm saying? Players, don't embarrass us. Go to City, go to Liverpool, go to whoever's ahead of us in the table. Go to Chelsea, and just don't embarrass us. Like we've sunken so far, or we are. Let's just say we were building that. We just, for me, I just don't want to be embarrassed. Like if we put up a good performance, that's like a win for me or some type of solace, and that's just it's just keeping it real. That's where we're at right now. You know what I mean? It just is what it is. So we there were moments in the game where we were definitely being embarrassed and taken advantage of, and and it seemed like Liverpool was gonna like really blow us away, but they had two goals taken off. Both of them should have been taken off. The Firmino goal, before he scored, Van Dijk went up for a ball with De Gea. They both challenged for the ball, and Van Dijk bumped De Gea. I feel that's a foul. Some of the analysts in the studio and the commentators watching the game didn't think that was a foul. But what do they know? I know the right thing, and so did VAR and the ref, and they called that goal off. And Wijnaldum was like slightly offside on Liverpool's second goal that was called off. And listen, he was more than the milli-inches that they've been calling in regular games where they stop games for like 5 minutes just to check. So an offside's an offside, even if it went in the back of the net. So we held them to 1-0 by the second half. Second half, they came out like, man, like they came out like, when you like plug in your electric car all night and it's fully charged and it's just ready to go and it wants to burn all the miles right there in the first 10 minutes that you're driving it. That's how Liverpool came out. Like, just electrifying, just spending electric energy all over the place. You know, you might hear some noise behind me in a house. There's other comics here. So we'll see what happens. So Liverpool came out. They came out hard in the first half. They created multiple chances, and luckily for us, Liverpool wasn't as sharp as they've been in the past, and we weren't embarrassed. We kept the game close. Then later on we took over. We got in control, which was beautiful to see, but we did not convert our chances. You know what I'm saying? We did not convert our chances, and and at the end when we sent everybody forward, on a corner, and Liverpool reacted better to the corner. Their goalkeeper got the ball, threw it to Salah. Salah got in a foot race with James, and we got to give James credit for even when Salah got that ball, he was way behind him. And we got to give Daniel James credit for racing back and fighting Salah for that goal. And I think the ball went through De Gea's legs, unfortunately. So, but I don't even care that we lost. It's funny. Like if it was 2-0 early, then I'd just been watching a game, right? That was out of our control from early. But the fact that they scored at the last whistle of the game, it's really, even though the game ended 2-0, it's really a 1-0 game. The game was played all game like a 1-0 game. Like Liverpool did not have this wrapped up until the whistle blew. You know what I mean? This game was not played like a 2-0 game. We lived and experienced this game as fans, as watchers, both on the Liverpool side and on the Man U side as a 1-0 game. Like they were trying to get the goal to put them in the clear, and we were trying to get the goal to steal points from them on their turf. And when you see 2-0 at the end, that's not the story of the game. It became only a 2-0 game at the last kick of the game. So, listen, man, we didn't embarrass ourselves. We went up there. We put up a fight. I got some notes on the game. Listen, to go to Liverpool, to have 46% possession, not bad. They had 509 passes. We had 455, not bad. Fred, man, you are doing... Listen, man, I got to apologize for Fred. I have been disrespectful to you in the past, man. I thought you were the worst Brazilian money could buy, and we used our money and bought you. But you just needed time to acclimate to the league. And hey, man, it's not easy. Like being shit on and then needing the amount of games you've needed to like prove people wrong, including me. So I apologize. Thanks for your 16 straight games of service. Thanks for improving. You know what I mean? And that's another thing I want to talk about. So Gary Neville, or was it Harry, or was it Keane, Roy Keane, in the Sky Studio was like, somebody was like, or maybe it was Carragher, I can't remember. There's a lot of people pointing fingers at Man United. So let me do some defending, not of the United board, because I have an issue with them, but let me do some defending of Solskjær. First of all, we go to Anfield. These are the World Club champions. They won Champions League. They are the World Club champions. They've beaten Man City, right? This year. They are on track they're on track to get 100 points this season. We go up there. We have 46% possession. They have 16 shots. We have 9 shots. They have 5 on target. We have 4. And our we have twin pass accuracy. Like we have matching pass accuracy, 79%, for whatever that's worth. So we go up there as underdogs and only lose 2-0. And we put up a fight, and we go up there with a good system that works. And if you watch what Jermaine Jennings said on Match of the Day, you could see why we didn't get a result. We could have like beat this team really early. If you watch the video footage, and so proving that Solskjær knows what he's doing. Now it's down to the capability of our players, and that's why I want to give Solskjær some props. We have players that either are not playing at maximum capability because they don't have it, or when I say maximum capability of the best players in the Premier League. These guys are not the top players. A lot of them are young, and some of them are like older members of teams from 3 coaches past. And we go up there and we put up a decent effort. Like this guy, and I know it did start out great this season, but this guy is showing me that there is something there, that he knows a little bit of something of what he's doing. So I'm not willing to abandon the Solskjær train yet. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to stick with him a little bit and see what else he could do. I feel like the good thing about this loss is that it proves that we need to buy Bruno Fernandes from I think it's Sporting for whatever they charge him, because we have injuries to Rashford, right? We have injuries to Rashford, and McTominay's out. Pogba's probably never, ever coming back to play for us again. Like, if this guy's worth the money now, you know what I'm saying? He's worth the money because we need him more than we need the money that we're going to save by not buying him. Like, listen, I live in Los Feliz. When I'm not traveling the world and doing these amazing things. I live in Los Feliz. And if somebody was trying to sell like a 2-bedroom house in Los Feliz for $1 million right now, it would be a little bit overpriced. But I know that in 2-3 years, that house will cost more. And that's how I feel about Bruno Fernandes. Even though he plays in a different league, I've seen clips of him, and on paper, he's the type of player that we need. But because he's a creative attacking midfielder who's box to box, who can also score goals and create assists, all the things we needed yesterday, and all the stuff we needed all season. So that's number one. Like, it's one thing to buy something for more money, and that thing doesn't have what you need. But this thing, and I'm calling it the guy thing, this player has everything we need. So that's one reason to buy him. Another reason why we should buy him, which I don't think, this is what I'm also calculating. Like, when you go online and watch the clips of this dude playing and watch the passion and the energy that this guy just exudes from this guy, like how much he loves playing, how much he likes being out there and being involved in the play, and is not afraid of the ball. Like, go check out Bruno Fernandes' engine. Just check out his engine, and you'll see that who doesn't need an engine like that on their team, right? Like somebody that just keeps going, keeps showing up for his teammates, keeps fighting for the ball, that is enthusiastic, that loves playing the game. Shit you can't teach. This comes with that. This is like extras. You know what I'm saying? It's like getting extra RAM after you buy a computer. It's like, oh shit, I didn't know this computer could do this. This motherfucker got it. You know what I'm saying? So that's why we should buy him. So let's just get him, y'all. Like, this game proves that we need him. We have the injuries that will make this not an overpriced buy. Like, Sporting is charging more than we're willing to pay, but this guy will be worth it. That's how I feel. Listen, man, if Fred could play himself into a Premier League player, you're going to tell me Bruno Fernandes can't fit in with Man U? And listen, we're going to want to do some shopping in the summer, right? And we lost Haaland. Haaland didn't come. And a lot of people are like, when Haaland scored the hat trick for Dortmund last weekend, everybody pointed at Man U like, ha, you didn't buy him, you could have had it. And maybe part of the reason Haaland didn't come here is because he looked at our team and was like, this team. And then he has the same agent as Pogba, and Pogba wants out. And he's like, I ain't joining no team where one of my agent's best players wants out. But this is why you should get Bruno Fernandes. You should get Bruno Fernandes so that if we finish and qualify for Champions League, here's more reasons. If you get Bruno Fernandes, right? Say we can possibly, definitely, most likely have a better shot of finishing in a Champions League space. So that makes him worth it. Another reason you buy him is because if he gets on the squad and we don't get a Champions League space, but with him we win Europa League, then we get a Champions League space. And he's worth it that way too. First you win a title, right? Which would be great for your coach, who everybody's on the fence about. And then you're in the Champions League. And also, any team with Bruno Fernandes is more attractive to players who are on the fence about coming to Man U. You know, they're like, Bruno Fernandes is there. They won Europa League, or they made it to a Champions League spot. It's just a better look period for the summer. You can't be like, this summer we're just gonna go and we're gonna fix everything. Well, some of those people might not want to fuck with us because of what happens, how the season plays out. But people might want to join with us and fuck with Man U if you get Bruno Fernandes and everything starts looking better to the players outside. Like, players have ambitions, you know what I mean? And we've lost out on a lot of good players. If this one wants to come, if one of the few good players wants to come to Man U, you should just pay the money alone. Because we've tried to get people and paid money for people and they didn't want to come. So if this dude wants to roll through for your money, like, Man U, it's so hilarious. Like, Man U is so bad right now that some players are like, I don't want your money. I don't want to play for you. I don't want your money. So now if you add Bruno Fernandes, I think it'll make other players want to take Man U's money more. So, yeah. That's my spiel. And I'm going to go back to the screen. So that's the Liverpool. And Liverpool, they did their thing again. They won. They got Wolves coming up this weekend. That's going to be tough. They're going to be at Wolves. And it's going to be a fight. And I understand why the Liverpool players are taking this whole thing one game at a time. They're not saying they have the title. Like, they have to get 30 points. Right? They have to, like, Man City's second. So in order for Liverpool to mathematically not be able to get caught by Man City, right now they need 30 more points. 30 more points is a lot. There's a lot of good teams in this league. There's a lot of slip-up teams in this league. There's a lot of teams in this league. They're haters. They will slip you up. They will banana peel you. You know what I'm saying? They will derail you. You know what I'm saying? They'll put a coin on the tracks and flip your whole train. So I understand why Liverpool players, when they get interviewed and asked, do you feel like you've got this title sewn up? They're like, nah, stop asking that questions, reporter. Stop trying to jinx people. And it's immature. Even Carragher, who was an ex-Liverpool player, was asking Van Dijk and all these Liverpool players, like, Just, hey man, chill, bro. Have some chill. Like, this is your team. You want them to win the title really bad. Stop asking them questions that'll make them relax and slip up against these banana peel teams like Wolves, who actually plays in the color of banana peel. All right? Just chill. So Liverpool, they keep marching on. They get 3 points. Salah scored. Van Dijk fucking. Why was Williams on Van Dijk? Why was our youngest player on the best defensive player in the world on a corner? I wouldn't have done that. And I'm a terrible coach. So we do need to fix some things, like simple little margins make a big deal. All right, Man City second. They drew against Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace has been getting better. They've been playing better. And it's funny, when the Dutch coach got fired years ago, Roy Hodgson was supposed to just be like a stopgap coach, but he's still there. And Crystal Palace is in ninth right now. They've had 4 draws in a row. And in the last 5 games, they had 4 draws and a win. So they've just gotten points in the last 5 games, which is good for Crystal Palace. They go to Man City, get a 2-2 draw. They force Sergio Aguero to just go to all lengths to get the lead of the game back. And then at the end of the game, Zaha does some Zaha shit, crosses the ball in, it ricochets off Stones and then off Fernandinho, and goes in the back of the net. And it's a 2-2 game. Crystal Palace gets points at City. Trap team, banana peel team. And no, it's nobody's easy. Not even the teams at the bottom of this league are easy, man. Like, it is like every game I can see why a top team could lose points to an okay team. You know what I mean? It's just this is a week by week league, right? Even Liverpool, they have pretty much maximum points. If you look at some of the games where they got those maximum points, the slip was in. It was there. The banana peels was on the field. They just navigated around them, but it's times they almost stepped on that shit. And look at Man City. They had 100 points last year, and they've been like slipping all season. And this is a Pep team. He's a professional. He don't fuck around. And yeah, even he's fell for the old banana and the tailpipe trick to some of these teams. So Man City second, 48 points. Let me see if there's anything else I want to say about this game. I'm going to take off my glasses to see. Ain't that a bitch? Man City, Crystal Palace, Aguero. I do think Crystal Palace got away with a handball. You know what? That was definitely an accidental handball. So yeah, I wouldn't have given that. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say. Aguero, he's on the field. He scores 2, and he shows Pep again, hey man, I'm 31, but you're not going to give my job to that young ass Gabriel Jesus guy from Brazil. I'm from Argentina. There's a natural rivalry there, and I'll be damned if you give my spot as a starting forward on this team to that young Brazilian motherfucker. I'm just going to keep balling, son. So, Sergio Aguero keeps his spot. I don't think Sterling had that good of a game, but Man City just didn't take their chances. Because, let me see some stats for that game. There's some crazy stats for that game. So let me go find it. Man City, right? Man City versus goddamn 25 shots fired by Man City. Problem is, only 6 on target. 73% possession. It's as if they was like, hey, uh, Crystal Palace, yeah, you want to play football with us? Crystal Palace like, yeah, let's do it. And Crystal Palace said, so when you gonna give us the ball so we could play together? And Nancy said, nah, when we play together, we don't really play together. We keep the ball. This is like an attacking drill that we're gonna run on y'all. You get the ball when you stop us from scoring, and then we take it right back and come back down your throats. Uh, but yeah, I mean, look at the passing discrepancy. There, Man City has 666 passes, 666. They pass like the devil, and Crystal Palace have 270 passes. That's it. The whole game. They had Crystal Palace had 27% possession and 270 passes. Just add a zero to the possession, and you get 27%. Add zero, 270 passes, and somehow they had 64% pass accuracy. I guess if you don't pass that much, you're going to be pretty accurate. So they should thank Man City for their decent pass accuracy by not giving them the ball so they can ruin their passing. And yeah, so that's the stats of that game. But Crystal Palace, man, they're doing good for Crystal Palace. You know, they're ninth in the table. So, shit, it's good for them. Leicester, man, I'm not sure that they'll fall out of the top four, but I was sure that Man City would take their rightful place and be second. So I'm not surprised Leicester slipped a little, and Man City is ahead of them by 3 points. Leicester lost to Burnley, who another banana peel trap team, you know, can cause you trouble, and you know, especially a team like Burnley. Burnley was like it's 14th now. They lost 4 games in a row. You don't want to play a Burnley team that has lost 4 games in a row because they ain't gonna lose 5. You know what I mean? And so any team that met Burnley this weekend was gonna have problems. And it was Leicester. They had problems. And listen, Leicester played a good enough game to win this game, but they just didn't. And Burnley made it happen for them. And Leicester has to play West Ham this week, and they have a new coach. They're reinvigorated. They're playing better than they were. So it's Premier League life. It's not for everyone. You got to be ready every week. You know what I mean? Like West Ham has done all their losing for the season. So they ain't trying to be relegated. So they're about to make a push for this last part of the season. So all their games are going to be interesting because they don't want to go down either. Chelsea played Newcastle, another banana in the tailpipe team. And yep, Newcastle won. Newcastle won. Let me go to this because I think, let's see who scored for Newcastle. Lineups. Newcastle. Oh, Hayden scored. All right. Yeah. But yeah, Newcastle has been giving teams trouble this year. They're better than what everybody thought they would be this year. And yeah, man. They beat Chelsea last minute of the game. Last minute of the game. And, you know, even as a draw, this would not been a good look for Lampard. And I think the issue with Lampard's team is like, if you look like at their lineup, so the way they lined up was Abraham, Hudson-Odoi, and Willian. As good as Willian's season has been, he's not a huge scorer. Then you have Tammy Abrahams, their leading scorer, and then Hudson-Odoi. Like, I think he has one Premier League goal for them. So that was their starting lineup. So they started a team that was kind of like goal empty. They don't, that ain't like the Liverpool front three of Mane, Salah, and Firmino. You know what I mean? Like, Tammy Abrahams might have the same amount of goals as Liverpool's third leading scorer, which is Firmino. Yeah, so so that's the way the golfing quality is. Like, Willian, great player, having a great season, doesn't have a lot of goals in him. Not as much as people would like for a guy who's playing forward. And Hudson-Odoi, he's just young, and he doesn't have the goals yet. He doesn't have goal fever yet. You know, like he's in he's it's his puberty. You know, for him in terms of like goal scoring. Like, the hormones hasn't kicked in yet. You know, he doesn't have the ability. He's not man enough yet to just do natural goal scoring things. You know, but that time will come if he keeps developing, and we'll see what he turns out to be. But he's just a promise right now, and they need some deliverers. And the only one they had playing forward for them as a deliverer who's also just coming out of puberty into manhood is Tammy. So, yeah. So I could see the issue. You know, I could see where they lost this game because they didn't get the goal. They didn't have a goal scoring force on the field to support everything behind them. So, yeah, I get them like falling to to Newcastle. And next week, Chelsea got Arsenal. So that's going to be crazy because Lampard can't afford to drop any more points. And Arteta, like, I feel like the Arsenal fans are being patient. I like the way they played this week. I'm going to get to their game. I like the way Arsenal played, but they did not win. And so, you know, Arteta, as much as he's changing the system and the culture on the field at Arsenal, he has to, he almost has to get some results to appease the impatient fans who don't believe in him as their coach yet, and to make sure the board doesn't do anything rash. So they're both, Chelsea and Arsenal, are in a tight spot. Plus, Chelsea can't afford to lose because Man United is 5 points behind them, and we got Burnley this week, and Burnley's a banana in the tailpipe team. But what if we beat them? Then we're even closer. So that's a huge. That's a Arsenal Chelsea is usually big, but this is even bigger now. It's at a pivotal time and point in the season for both clubs. You know, two ex-players who are trying to like cut their teeth as coaches, and like who are both determined to keep their jobs. And the only way to keep your jobs is to get results. And now they're facing each other. They have to get results against each other. So that's really one to watch. And that's Tuesday. Yeah, that's on Tuesday. By the way, I'm in Australia. It's Wednesday already. So I already know the results of this game. But I'm not going to tell you. Watch it when Tuesday happens. Well, it's Tuesday now. So, yeah. So, Chelsea have 39 points. They're fourth. And, yeah, man, Steve Bruce's Newcastle. Let's see where Newcastle is in the table. They're 12th. You know, they're 12th. They have 29 points, 11 more points to safety. You know, like they say, 40 is when you're safe. And Newcastle has way more points than anybody thought. Like, people at the beginning of the season even convinced me that Newcastle was going to go down. Like, they were the number one team to go down, and they're 12th. So, Steve Bruce, you're doing way better job than everybody thought, and you're doing a better job than Benitez. So yeah. So anybody is China. Benitez is in China right now, I think. If China, I don't know how much China paid to get him, but is he worth the money you paid as a coach? Because the team he just left is doing way better. You know what I'm saying? So you might have overpaid. So Man United, I discussed them for fifth, 34 points. Also with 34 points is goddamn Wolves, and they played Southampton, and what a game! Southampton goes up 2-0, and this is my boy Leeds team. Yeah, Southampton goes up 2-0, and you're like, all right, like, because I'm watching one game and I'm watching the scores in the top of the screen. I'm like, all right, Southampton 1-0. All right, all right. Oh shit. All right, Southampton 2-0 against Wolves. Really? Against Wolves? How are you doing that against Wolves? This turnaround is complete. This Houston harmful. Well, I can't even say his name. This Houston the harmful. Yeah, that guy, the ex-German Dortmund. He's doing his thing. He's like, this is it now. They're doing, and then Wolves just did some Wolves shit. And Traore got out of hand. He's responsible for pretty much all of Wolverhampton's 3 goals. He played a part in it. He played even the one that turned out to be a penalty. He played a part in that. Let me see if I have any notes on my phone about that game. Again, I gotta take my glasses off to see. But yeah, what? Let me go slow. Let me go slow. Yeah, I don't think I had much, but just the fact that Wolves came back from 2 goals down, scored 3 unanswered goals, and Southampton, who had a really good run lately, they hadn't lost in 4 games. Wolves made sure that you lost in 5. And but good for you. You're 13th. You got 28 points, Southampton, and you are not doing bad. And next week, Southampton is playing Crystal Palace. This is banana in the tailpipe team versus banana in the tailpipe team. These, like, this is a league where Wolves can fuck you up, and then Wolves play Southampton, who could fuck them up, and then now Southampton has to play Crystal Palace, who could fuck you up. Crystal Palace has to play Southampton, who could fuck them up. It's just, it's a slippery ass league. Watch your footing. They should have those slippery when wet signs everywhere. And like I said, I don't think they're I guess every game Liverpool plays is a marquee game. So next week they play Wolves at Wolves. So that's who Wolves has next. And hopefully Liverpool will beat Wolves. And I say this as a Man U fan because we're not going to catch Liverpool, but we want to get Wolves off our back. With Man United, me and Wolves are tied for 34 points. So if Liverpool could stop Wolves at 34 points and we can get our win, then we could get closer to 4th place and put some distance in between getting caught with Wolves. Sheffield United is 7th, and man, say the same thing all week about this team. Like Sheffield United, another banana in the tailpipe. Watch your foot. The ground is wet. Don't slip on this team. They are for real. And they draw against Arsenal. They draw against Arsenal. They go to Emirates and get a point. And they get it late, but they got it. And I got to give Arsenal, like, you could see Arteta's plan working. The players are working hard. And, just one moment in the game when, Sheffield player took a shot, it deflected, I think off a Arsenal player, went in the back of the net. But, you know, I remember when Rafa Benitez was at Real Madrid. It's funny what you could tell about teams. Like right now, Real Madrid fired Valverde, right? He won the league twice, but you could tell that this team, because then you don't just judge teams now on points. You judge them on how they play. Normally, back in the day, teams would just take the win. Fans would just take the win. Now they like, yeah, we won, but I don't like how we play. Fire him. So a part of the problem with the coach before that Arsenal had that besides the mediocre results, fans were like, we don't like how we play. So I just mentioned how Arteta needs to win against Chelsea. But the thing that's in his favor is I think that Arsenal fans like the way Arsenal is playing. They like the energy that the Arsenal players are giving off. They hadn't seen this type of energy and blue collarness before. They hadn't seen their team do the splits like James Brown and go all out before. And they're appreciative of that and that Arteta's getting it out of them. And so even in this game, like Arsenal in a regular universe is always supposed to beat Sheffield United. But Sheffield is a problem. And listen, man, if Arteta wasn't there, I could see Arsenal losing to Sheffield United. So I think Arsenal fans should keep that in mind. So listen, Arsenal drew against Sheffield United. Sheffield United is 7th, but it's still a good game for Arsenal. And I just remembered something because Arsenal has a player that's similar to Man U. So Arsenal has Ozil. And I saw him working a little bit and getting back on plays. But there are some plays where he still took, if he went forward, sometimes he'd be like, I'm not going back this time. I'm done. I need rest for the next time when we get the ball. And Man U has that in Martial, where Martial could have way more goals if he worked more. Like, if I said this before, I was watching the Liverpool game. It's like, you don't pass the ball exactly how Martial feels he wants it in his head, he ain't going for that shit. He'd be like, he wasn't right. He's wasting. Like, we had an issue with Lukaku before where he would actually trap the ball, but trap it into the stands. Now we have an issue with Martial where he's the opposite of that. Like, he'll it's not good enough of a pass. I can't go get that. And I like it like this. Like, it has to be within this circumference or else. Yeah, so Ozil needs to fix that on him, and Martial has to fix that on him for us. So so Ozil's play. I do acknowledge that he's working harder, but still. But you know what? I've even seen players from Man City not go all out this season, which is part of the reason why they've slipped up as many times as they have. So anyway, let's go to Tottenham. They are 8th. They drew with Watford. Listen, another trap team. Like, Watford got a new coach. They are reinvigorated. They're at the bottom of the table. They're trying to get out. And they're taking every game as an opportunity. They don't care who the fuck you are. Tottenham, Liverpool, Man City. They are trying to get points. They are equal opportunity point stealers. You know what I'm saying? They play every team now since they got their new coach as if we even. And so that's the problem Tottenham had to face. A banana in the tailpipe team. And Yeah, and Tottenham just couldn't do anything with it. They didn't get the goals, a goal, no goals. And this is not a good look for Mourinho. Like, I'm looking at Tottenham right now. They had one win in their last five. They had two draws and two losses. These are Pochettino results. But the problem is, Pochettino was fired. He's no longer your coach. Mourinho's your coach. So what the fuck's this? Like, Pochettino got fired for shit like this. So yeah, that's the issue. Like, you made the change that was gonna make your team better, and it's the same. So is it the players or the coach or both? Like, on paper, Tottenham is a very good team. They made it to the Champions League finals last year. They finished with a Champions League spot, but and I know you have an injury to Harry Kane. So let's count your injuries. Every team gets injuries, but some people are injured in key positions more. But last season, when Harry Kane was injured, I think Spurs won all those games or got points from all those games. So, and listen, man, the league is not going to be like, Watford ain't going to be like, hey, we got to take it. We got to give Spurs a handicap and take it easy on them because Harry Kane's not there. No team in the league cares that you have injuries. You know what I mean? They're like, we're going to treat you regular. We're not going to treat you. There's no handicap spot on the field for your team to play. We are going to go and play you as if you have all your parts. So, Tottenham got Norwich coming up next week. And again, even though Norwich are at the bottom of the table, they can't slip you up. They won this week. So, and they need points. So, hey, man. So, let's see. So, we are at Tottenham. Crystal Palace, we discussed them. They are ninth. They have 30 points. And they play Crystal Palace. They play Southampton. So, that's all these games are going to be interesting midweek. They're just all interesting. Arsenal, we discussed them when we discussed Sheffield United. Like, listen, here's the crazy thing about Sheffield United. They've been ahead of Arsenal for probably most of the season. Like, Arsenal was the real underdog in this game. Like, Sheffield United didn't just get to seventh. They've been chilling up there above Arsenal for a decent portion of this season. So it ain't like it, so Arsenal, they play in a real seventh place. So to get a draw with that squad, see, everybody looks. There's a lot of disrespectful perspective in the Premier League. Like, who is Sheffield United, the team that got promoted? So what? They're seventh. Arsenal should beat them. Should they? Should they? Because Sheffield has earned seventh place and being where they are all season, and Arsenal hasn't. So why should Arsenal just be able to beat this team? Why is Sheffield the underdog and Arsenal the team who are looking down at this team? Nah, that's not the story of this season. That was the story of the past history of Arsenal, but it ain't the story of right now. Story of right now is that Arsenal were lucky enough to get a point off Sheffield United because Sheffield United is ahead of Arsenal in the table, and they've been ahead of Arsenal in the table. And like I said, Arsenal this weekend, or on Tuesday, which is today right now, but tomorrow for y'all, is going to play Chelsea. And that's going to be fucking interesting. Arteta going to need to get them points. Everton played West Ham. Both teams, new coaches, reinvigorated, doing their thing. These teams are problems. They're problems to teams like They problems to each other and to teams above them in the table and to teams below them in the table. Uh, so Everton is 11th. Ancelotti got another point. You know, in Everton's last 5 games, they've had 3 wins, 1 loss, and that loss was to Man City, and it was 2-1. That's an acceptable loss at Man City. And now they drew at West Ham, who has a new coach, Moyes, a new used old coach, Moyes. So yeah, they played. Everton plays Newcastle. That's not going to be easy next week. So this is just this league is easy for no one except Liverpool, and they're not even taking it for granted like that. Like I said, Newcastle is 12th. They're happy. They got their win over Chelsea. But next week they got to play, or midweek, they got to play Tuesday, they got to play Everton. So we'll see how that goes. And it's 13th is Southampton. Talked about them. Husenhoffel. Yeah, him. Good job. 12, 28 points. Burnley, who's been, despite their 4 losses before this win against Leicester, they're 14th. So I feel like Burnley looks like they're having a worse season than they're actually having, because we kind of expect more from Burnley. Not much more, but enough more for this to not be great. But let's hope that they're not great next week when they play Man United. So let's hope they drop some points again. And Brighton Hove is 15 for 25 points. They tied with Villa. They went ahead first in this game. Let's see what they had. See the notes on my phone. So the notes on my phone. Southampton versus Wolves. Shane Long, Traore. Brighton Hove versus Villa. I can never see the things I want when I need them. Here it goes. So Trossard scores first, and Grealish equalizes at the end of the game, or towards the end of the game. And great pass from Douglas Luiz, who Villa bought from Man City. And yeah, man, that's just Jack Grealish, man. Like every week, I'm looking at Jack Grealish highlights, and these are quality highlights. These are like, I should play for England class highlights. Like this dude, like when you watch like a roundup of the league, you're watching the highlights from some of the best players who play for their country. And one of the few players who is consistently in the highlights, who doesn't play for his country, is Jack Grealish. So that needs to be fixed. So Southgate, I don't know. You did good in the World Cup. You did good in England qualifying for Euros. And I have no clue when you have like a creative player, a player that you literally need on your team, and you're like, where can I get one of those? We need something for England to like create more goals, especially when we play those good ass teams. And I wish we had one somewhere playing for Villa. Look at Villa. His name is Jack Grealish. All right, use him. All right, West Ham. West Ham drew with Everton. They're 16th. They got their new coach. They're climbing, shit out of the relegation zone. They're trying to kick off the other people, trying to hold them down. Yeah. They got mud up to here on them from being down below, and they're just trying to get that shit off. And they might do it. We'll see. I don't think they'll go down. It's not because of Moyes. It's just for some reason they were underperforming under Pellegrini. And let's see what happens. But it could still happen. They could still get pulled down. Like, I feel like Watford has a way better chance. Watford is 17th one place, has a way better chance of not getting relegated than West Ham. Like, Watford's last 3 results are 2 draws and 3 wins. So, and who do they play? They got Villa, who is right below them in the table. That's going to be tough for Villa, because Villa is a banana peel team, and Watford is a banana peel team right now. And Watford is more of a banana peel team, more of a they belong higher, like for real in the table, based on what they did last year. And for them to be where they are right now, it's just, but they're playing like where they should be in the table right now. Villa, they need these points. Lloyd, you need these points. Like, playing Watford right now is like you're playing a better team than their 23-point total. And Watford has 23 points. Villa has 22 points. Villa's in the relegation zone. And if they beat Watford, they could climb out of it. And if Watford beats Villa, they could push and propel themselves. They could just only have the mud up to here, as instead of like under their armpits, where it is now. So, yeah. Let me just check this thing, make sure it's still recording. Yeah, still rolling. International football being done internationally. And Bournemouth is next. They're 19th. They lost again. And they lost. First, they lost a player. Their captain handed the ball so that the ball wouldn't go in the net. Referee saw it. It's like, hey man, there are cameras everywhere. There's so many cameras during a Premier League game. If your shorts had pockets, they'd be able to see what you were doing with your hands if you put them in your pockets. So much less if you're waving them like to block a goal. Like, it's gonna be a red card. Like, let the ball go in, right? Go down 1. Because if you hand the ball, they're going to give them a penalty. And they score the penalty, you're going to be down 1 goal and down 1 man. But if you let the ball just go in, you're only down 1 goal. And I think that was Cook. And crazy mistake, Steve Cook. Even though later on, Godfrey from Norwich got a yellow card, which was upgraded. The only type of upgrade you don't want, if you're getting on a flight, you want them to grade your seat. Like when you're playing in soccer, in the Premier League, you don't want them to upgrade your yellow to a red to get to a seat in your locker room. You don't want that. So even though later on it was a 10-on-10 game, that's the thing. Like, if Cook just lets that ball go in, then later on, Godfrey gets the red. Then you have an 11-on-10 advantage, and you could win this game. Bournemouth. So Cook, you kind of really messed up this weekend. And next weekend you play Brighton Hove. They're not easy. They are harder than you are right now, Bournemouth. Like, Bournemouth is like taking beatings all over this league. Like last year, they were a banana in the tailpipe team. This year, they're just getting gangbanged by pretty much whoever they face. It's not good. Leaking goals. All right. Eddie Howe has to do something to turn this around. He's trying. How long does his board hang in with him? It's like, we are loyal, but the team is our priority. And, who is out there that could that Bournemouth could get if the Bournemouth decides to get rid of Eddie Howe. It'll be stone cold, but you have to be stone cold in the Premier League to win shit, to be a viable team. Sometimes you got to make some cutthroat moves to survive in this league or to ascend the ladder of prominence in this league. So, yeah. I don't know how many more. This is 4 losses in a row. I don't know how many more losses. Like, if Bournemouth lost again, the fans might sanction the firing of Eddie Howe. They might be like, do what you got to do, boy. We get it. We love this guy, but we ain't going back down with him. We came up with him, but we're not, our relationship is based on how high he can bring us, not where he could bring us back to. And we love him for the highs, not for the lows. So we're fucking with him on some low shit. And then also there is the bottom of the table, Norwich, who won this week. They beat Bournemouth. And now that win makes them look like, now they're only like 16 points away from 17th place and 16th place. They're only 6 points away from. So, with that win, they got Spurs next. And let me tell you something, Spurs lose to Norwich, right? Like, in some crazy way. Spurs could be like, we have to fire Mourinho. And that would be bananas. Because if you're Mourinho, you can't lose to Norwich. But if Norwich, who's scrappy and really desperate, this is not an easy game for Spurs because Norwich is fucking desperate. They need these points. They're at the bottom of the table. So that's who Spurs, who doesn't have their shit together, there's something wrong. And man, what could that do to Mourinho's mentality? Would that set him off on some crazy spiral that'll make him say some shit that he can't take back, that'll damage his relationships in the Spurs organization with players, board members, medical personnel? Like, that is a game to watch on Wednesday, because if somehow Norwich wins, that you didn't hire Mourinho to lose to Norwich. You didn't hire him for the results you have now. You definitely didn't hire him to lose to Norwich. So that's a huge loss for Spurs. More, like losing to Norwich for Spurs will almost feel like Spurs is in the relegation zone, even though they are way above it. So, yeah, that's the league, y'all. That's the league. There's games on Tuesday. There's games on Wednesday. Yeah. So, midweek games. I'm in Australia, Sydney. I got shows with Tosh. If you're watching the podcast, like and subscribe. If you're listening to the podcast on SoundCloud or iTunes, like and subscribe. Sometimes come look at my Instagram, see what I'm doing. Got some funny roommate sketches on there. Check those out, like those, tag people. Sorry to give all these instructions, but you got to do it these days, especially when I feel like the algorithm is playing games. So, name is Ian. I'm solo. This was fun. I think I'm going to be in Fiji. Yeah. A nigga is going to Fiji, and I will be doing the next podcast from there. So, enjoy. Love y'all. Be good. Talk to you next weekend on Monday. 1.